That's like they get the money for the steak.
It's recording.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so today in Mitzvah Hashem we're going to discuss a little bit details in HYS Tax. And we're going to discuss differences between different Hotplates and styles. And I think it's going to be a lot of different halachas that we can learn today. We know that beside halachas, simple halachas, we know of Shabbos. We're not allowed to cook in Shabbos. We're not allowed to light a fire of Shabbos. Malechas bishul, malechas mavir. This is doiraisa, things that we don't even touch, we don't even consider. But there's still certain other halachas that we have, which is more the rabbanon halachas. Chazal came into the picture and extended the issue of bishul, extended the issue of al-orah, and added to it many halachas and details. And this is called Hilchot Shehiyah mit Chazurah, and this is in the Shulchan Aruch. If you look into it, it's about 10 simunim and bigger than the halachas of bishul and al-orah itself. And I can say in a regular Shabbos we are most likely engaging these halachas, whereas the regular halachas of bishul and al-orah, you know, who is taking an actual fire, who is making a fire on Shabbos, who is actually cooking on Shabbos, right? But what we do, you know, we're using fire, we're putting a pot back and forth, you know, we're doing some stuff. So these halachas are even more relevant than actual halachas of bishul, actual halachas of cooking, and actual halachas of al-orah. Now, what's going to be most relevant is, you know, the usage of hot plates. You know, every Yiddish home, every Jewish home is some sort of hot plate. It could be a regular hot plate, it could be Israeli style hot plate, it could be a warmager, it could be a crock pot, a blech, it could be on top of the fire. Some sort of something we need because we can't cook on Shabbos. So we have to find some type of a method to keep the food warm, because we know that tzedekим, in a very early time, they believe and we saying don't have fire means don't have fire whatsoever. So according to them, they used to sit in the dark, have cold food, and it was a big apikosis because they didn't believe in what Chazal is telling us. Chazal says, right, you're not allowed to light fire, but you're still allowed to use a fire somehow.
Do they have electricity?
Today they will have electricity. That's a good question.
They are Karaites. They're called Karaites. In Israel, there are people from...
They have electricity?
Oh, I don't know if they use it.
The karuim.
Ah.
Actually,
and therefore, you know, the whole idea of having a chamin of Shabbos, you know, it's such important things to have a hot food of Shabbos. It was because of that. It was basically to show them that we are allowed to have hot food somehow. You know, we're reading all this, the read in the Rishonim and many other places that if you're not eating hot food on Shabbos, you're not because. Why are you because you're not eating hot food of Shabbos? Solution of Balamur. Balamur says, Rabbi is calling the Balamur in self-simulation design. It says, if you're not eating hot food of Shabbos, you're not because. It's not like Chassidish Moses. It's because the tzedekим couldn't have hot food of Shabbos. Because they said no fire. That's it. They don't believe in Chazal. Now we believe in Chazal. Chazal is telling us you're allowed to have fire. You can keep the fire somehow and use the fire. You're just not allowed to light, to make the fire actually. Therefore, whatever believe in Chazal, whoever agreed to Chazal, was accepting the idea that they can have fire, keeping your food warm, and whatever was against Chazal says, no, I don't believe you. I don't take your opinions. In my opinions, I'm reading the Torah says, and the Torah says, don't have fire means no fire whatsoever. So we want to show that they're wrong, that you can keep your food warm over Shabbos. Therefore, we're eating hot food of Shabbos. So in the old time, they used to have the hot food. They used to keep it in an oven. They used to keep it in a different certain ovens, but basically it was a box. with coil inside. Friday afternoon they used to cook the food over the coil, and on Shabbos they used to leave it on the coil. So I'm not doing anything. I'm not actually cooking. I'm not actually playing with the coils. I'm not doing mavi. I'm not doing bishul. I'm just leaving it there. And over Shabbos, to keep warm. Right? So this is where Chazal came into the picture, and Chazal says, no, you can do it. Because I'm afraid you're going to play with the coil. Come Shabbos, usually what you used to do, right? We have a few experts here in the field, in the shul. What do you do with the coil? You have to
hake it.
right? You have to hake it here, and usually during the week, that's why we used to do it that time. You go into the pot, you see, you need some more heat, less heat. You're playing with the coils, ups and down, make sure it works. So Chazal was afraid if you're going to live it the same way on Shabbos, you're just going to forget the Shabbos today, and you're going to do the same thing. And therefore Chazal says, no, you cannot leave your food on the coil. Even though it's allowed on Shabbos, you're not doing anything, but I'm afraid you're going to do something which is not allowed to do. You're going to play with the coil. And therefore Chazal says you're not allowed to leave it on the coil. And Chazal gives you there's two scenarios. Meaning I would say there's a scenario and a solution. So the scenario is, Chazal says to you, if the food is ready, so you don't have to be worried about it, then you can leave it. Because you're not going to touch it anyway. Now what is it ready? All machloikas. Half cooked, third cooked. As far as more machmes to be fully cooked. All shittas and shulchan what's considered to be ready, so I'm not worried about it. Now, the other side could be if it's totally raw. Something which is totally raw, then you're not going to eat it tonight until tomorrow it's going to be ready. Chazal wasn't afraid as well. Once it's a little bit cooked, but not fully cooked, this is where the problems start. This is the scenario where Chazal was afraid. Shabbos will come, you're going to play with the coil, you're going to try to make it better. That's a problem. This is a scenario. On the other hand, Chazal came into a solution. Chazal told you, let's say you have food that I'm afraid you're going to play with the coil. I have a solution for you. If you're going to move the coil a little bit to the side of you're going to move it to the side a little bit. This is garuf. Or you're going to cover it somehow with ash or something that this is kotu. So it's going to show you when it comes Shabbos, you have the pot in front of you, you want to play around a little bit, there's something different than normal week. So you're not going to play with it, you're not going to do anything.
Wo steht das Zeug, wenn es jetzt in der Licht, auf der Feuer?
Am nicht umgezogen. Für der Reise liegen nicht. Am nicht umgezogen.
Am nicht umgezogen?
Nein, gesetzt in den Dark.
Wieso ist man bei der Nacht dort, wenn es doch kein Kollektor in dem?
Dark.
Also wie die Katschkes. Bei Nacht, ja, alle Jahre schlucken.
Dark, that's what they are.
Net so.
So,
Shabbos is well to enjoy it, no?
right, of course. Chazal says, sure you should enjoy it. Have good food.
But no light, you gotta enjoy it.
They're wrong. Right? We're not following the same way. We say you should have food, you should have light.
Essen mit kalter Sipp.
Was kauft es? Also haben wir gerade Kollektor und ich kann essen, was haben wir eigentlich die Nuse an?
Yeah. So now we know, at the time of Chazal, the oven was a box with corn, and you have to make sure the corn is not the same regular way, so it's going to show you that you're not going to play around with it. Right? Now, comes to for example, such a Hotplate, right? In the past few shiurim over here, we discussed that this is basically a fire. Right? This is the heat element. And such a Hotplate, it's going to go in here. Right?
No, here.
Here. Right. Here. And you turn on the fire, and the whole thing gets hot, and you can cook over it. So we learned already in the shiurim over here that this is considered a fire. Right? But the question is it considered a fire, but it's still covered? Right?
So it's
a cover. So we just said before, if you're taking your coil and you're covering it with something, it's fine. You're going to say it's not enough of a cover? When you're putting it in, it's fully covered. Right? Huh?
Says it must be machen.
It's a difference, that's not hecker.
Why is it not
That's why it shouldn't.
Shabbos.
Was? Macht es ja auf Shabbos. aber es hat den also ja gekocht. Der Kohl auf mit Tzedek. Oder Tzedek, fine.
Is that two gedekt?
Mittwoch uses the same way.
Oh, very good. And that's what I was saying. So the Mamshik is already talking about in Achiva, the very first one. And he says, the concept was, at that time, to cover the fire was different than during the week. So when you're using over Shabbos, you see it different than during the week. So you're going to remind yourself not to play with the fire. But today, if you're going to use the same grill, and the way you're using it during the week, it's the same thing. So this is not considered to be covered.
This is Shabbos though. You know it's during the week.
The Maskela Shmitz Shabbos.
No, it's not using Shabbos. They make.
We are not using it only on Shabbos. This is made.
They make this for Jewish people only. They don't make it.
This one.
Yeah.
And this one.
Yeah.
Right.
You're speaking to the man himself.
I don't know. What?
This is what I made for.
The temperature, this one you can.
This is what I made for.
But it's
Beautiful stuff.
heating itself.
Bacon.
No, it doesn't.
Je verstaat het, want het doos toen de Schnitz in Shabbos.
This would be good.
Deze toen de Schnitz in Shabbos.
More hot, less hot.
You can adjust this over here. There's an adjustable.
Zijn ze weer
The
krakbaar?
difference is that you can have.
Very good.
Wait, so this we could use on Shabbos just because it's
Oh, so the different. This is that's exactly the difference I wanted to show you over here. The big difference. You know, people don't. You know, you went out, you're getting a Hotplate. You know, especially around the summer. You went out for Shabbos. You stop by Walmart, you're getting a Hotplate for $20. So let's understand the difference of what a Hotplate is considered to be. And then we're going to see how to use such an Hotplate and how to use such an Hotplate, and you see what the halachas are. Right? So first thing we have to understand that this piece is considered to be a regular fire. Right? Imagine yourself, you have now the fire in your gas range, an actual fire in front of you. Oh, this is what it is. Exactly. Same thing. Huh? Because why? Because it's electric. Okay, it's electric fire, but still it's a fire. Huh?
You know, I like the over beleg of them.
Oh, so what we have to do, we have to cover it. Exactly like we understand that you have a gas range. You have to put a blech on top of it. This is like a gas range. So you have to put a blech on top of this.
Is the foil good?
Piece of foil could be good, right?
So one thing gas range okay. You could also adjust the knobs.
Oh, very good. So this is a very good point. Now let's understand what we have to cover. So in the time of Chazal, when we're talking about a piece of coil, so the actual fire and where you were supposed to adjust the fire was a small piece. And you come in, you're just covering the same piece, the coil. Here, all these new electronics came up, not only this electronic, even a regular gas range, right? It became two parts, right? The fire is on top, or in the bottom, in the oven. In the knob, where you adjust the fire in a separate place. So the question became, 50 years ago, what do we have to cover? Once the coil got separate, what do we have to cover? The fire or the knob?
Ja, aber nochmal zu Hause kann man nicht machen dort in dem, auf einem kleinen Doos in Unablecht.
So this is the question. What we have to cover? The knob, the knappel,
yeah.
or the fire?
what's the knob? The knob is the thing that you turn.
Yeah,
Ja, das
you
ist wie
adjust.
gas.
The main thing is the fire, no?
So again, at the time of Chazal, there was one thing.
The
You
fire.
used to hack the coil
Yeah.
to make the fire bigger.
Seems like you should be the fire, no? Why should, what is the knob?
Maybe they would adjust.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can adjust it.
What we afraid of? We're afraid you're gonna adjust
Aber man
it.
leicht der Feuer wird es verbrennt. Und also man meint, ein kleiner Doos, ein kleiner Doos, darf man schlagen kein Grund.
Or you make the knap.
Nur der Knäppel, nicht der ganze Doos.
So this is the big machloikes. The same machloikes we have over here on the table. This is the machloikes between the poskim. Once the gas range came out, and the same thing in the oven, and the coil from Chazal was changed because the fire is in one place and the knob in a different place. So to start the big machloikes, what do we have to do now? I want to copy the halacha from Chazal to the new fact. It's a different fact. It's separate. So there's opinions. The mainstream opinion I can say, even though logically we don't really understand, but most of the poskim understood that you have to cover the fire. Like you said, you have to cover the fire because this was the way of the Gezeiah, that was the way, you know.
Das will ich. Der ist aber die ganze Nacht.
The ganze Sache. You have to cover the
Wie idem Verwurst kann man nicht machen dort nur die.
So given there was almost, you know, very little poskim, very few that said that you can cover the knob itself and it should be enough. Very little possible. And therefore, we all know the old gas range. What do? We put a blech on top of what? Of the fire. Why don't you put a blech on top of the knappel on the bottom of the knobs. Because the Iker Halucha in the Poskim was you have to cover the fire. Some say you have to cover the fire and the knobs. So that's sort of you can find like an L shape.
Yeah,
L shape.
You know you're not going to use the knobs anyway. Why do they still have to be covered?
Because you're going to forget maybe. That was the Chashash of Chazal. You're going to come to your party on Shabbos morning, you're going to check if something's good, and you're going to,
I see.
you're not going to,
Why did most poskim say only the
because they said this is the Gzeir of Chazal was to cover the fire.
but it was to cover the coals.
Technically,
because
there was the
use
case.
coals.
But on the other hand, you can also understand that it's enough of a hecker. You have the fire covered in front of you.
So they think it would remind
You
you.
will remind you not to play with the knobs. Some poskim say you can cover the knobs themselves. So in certain situations, certain times, it's maybe enough to cover the knob. For example, in certain ovens, the element is hard to cover. The element could be sometimes with a top, not on the bottom. So sometimes you have to rely on the psag that to cover the knobs enough.
Ich verwusst bei der Kraftfahrt, was man leicht daran getont, ja, los. Darf man nicht leiden, wo nicht.
Darf man ja. Oh, so haben wir verstanden. So again, also haben wir so früher. If the food is heute gekocht für Fahrer Shabbos,
Ja.
dann muss ich umschneiden.
Sie du als a Schüssel. Das legt man auf dem, los.
Ja.
Sie du der hinten, wo es sind das so, ja?
Ja.
Darf man nicht leiden, kann größer kochen, was?
Weil, muss ich mich früher, als Thomas ist gekocht, das ist ein Problem. If it cooks already, ob es schon gekocht,
Sie können auch do something
gekocht
here.
kannst du auch leiden, ja.
Something here, darf man nicht.
Can leiden?
Ob es ist schon gekocht, kannst du auch leiden.
Ja.
So
Man macht die kleine Dose, das ist eine schwere
Yes, so let's get back to the very clear look. No, one second. When we're talking about Shehiyah, very important to understand. When we're talking about Shehiyah means Erev Shabbos is not allowed to leave something on the blech, on the fire, I'm sorry, right? There's two solutions. Like I said, a scenario and a solution. It has to be not cooked.
Not cooked.
If it cooked, that's it, you know, it's fine. It's cooked, that's it.
So if it's cooked, you
You
can
can leave it on the fire.
to be on the fire. And on a certain
Verwusst bei der
in the oven. In the oven.
Or if it's cooked, you can
Aber
have
dann
it.
nimmst du raus, du tust den Scharan
Oh,
zurück.
this is Chazura in Shabbos. Very good. The reason why we have a blech, usually in a Yiddish home, right? The reason why we have a covered fire anywhere is not because of Shia, not because of Erev Shabbos. Erev Shabbos, if you put your food when it cooked, and you plan to take it down just for the Suda, you don't need a blech. You can use a regular fire. The only reason, once it's cooked, again, according to this fire, we're going to be fully cooked, according to Ashkenaz, and less cooked, but once it's cooked, Erev Shabbos, you're good to go, you can put it in the fire. In Shabbos, if you want Friday night, you want to tell a chunt, and then you're going to put it back for tomorrow, this is chazur. To put back the food on the fire.
Die hältst das nächste Jahr.
Not on the fire cigarette.
I don't know, jetzt habe ich nicht verstanden.
I'm lost.
Why? No, das why?
In Shabbos,
You hold it.
you hold it. You hold it.
Der ganze Durst. Da hältst du den Top, nein?
Aber es ist nicht covered.
you could serve it out of
The cans not Arurik.
Was heißt da Ulrich noch nicht, aber es liegt auf dem.
Just the cover.
Du musst dich aufhören, du kannst dich aufhören. Weil es liegt auf dem Feuer.
But you can take out once it's on the fire. Ja, aber die kannst du raus von der Top, dann muss er liegt on the fire. Same thing.
Auch
It's on the
nicht.
fire.
Nein.
It's on the fire. So let's try to make it simple. Let's try to make it simple.
Der Tschon, der Ekel, der Tschon. Warte ich nachts, Woche.
Du kannst nicht lernen. Du kannst nicht lernen von dem.
Für mich.
Von Kuka.
Ob es ist zugedeckt, kannst du. Dann musst du nicht zugedeckt, kannst du nicht aufnehmen.
Wo ist der Woche am Freitag nachts?
Dann nimmst du das auch, machst das auch.
Der Woche am Freitag nachts. Tschon. Hold it and that's all.
That's too much in one shot. That's too much.
Wo ist der Woche, wo sind wir in der Woche in der Schiebe?
So let's go back a little bit. The reason why we do all these here, there's two reasons why we do this here. Why Chazal says you're not allowed to play around with the pot, who cares, take it back, take it forward and back. There's two reasons. One reason is Shemu Yechate. I'm afraid you're going to play around with the coil. The other reason is Mechzek Mavashel. It looks like you cook.
Well, the misters.
You're putting a pot in the fire, the extra over top of the fire, so it doesn't really cook. It's Erev Shabbos, the problem was, if you're leaving stuff on the fire, the problem is with Shemu Yechate. I'm afraid, if it's not ready, Shabbos comes, you're going to play with the coil to make it ready. Right? Once you cover it, done. I'm not afraid anymore. I have a hacker, I know, I'm not going to play with this. But there's still a problem with Mechzek and Mavashel. It looks like you cooked.
So
Now, what? Marasai. Yes. Very good. Now, Friday, there's no point of Marasai. What do you mean Marasai? Looks like you cook, so what? You're allowed to cook on Friday. Right? What's the problem? Only Shabbos you have a problem with Mechzek and Mavashel. So which means, let's say you had something on the fire. Erev Shabbos. Cooked. Your chunt is already cooked. You smell a machaya, the Ben's chunt. It's a good chunt. Yes, Friday night, you want to take it out of the fire. You want to take a plate, enjoy a little bit, a long winter Friday night, and you'll put it back for tomorrow. So you have no Mechzek and Mavashel, you have no Shemu Yechate, but you still have a Mechzek and Mavashel. It looks like you cook, because in the minute you're taking the pot,
But if
you are not taking the pot, you are taking the mlefel and the this and the, then I'm still.
it's a different thing. It's a different thing. On the fire, there's a little called migas. You're not allowed to play around with the food if it's on the fire.
Stir.
Yeah. Huh?
Stir.
Yeah. So Migas.
So over the fire, you can't take out something from your chunt on Shabbos. You have to take it down the fire.
So then I'm просто opnemen on top.
Right.
Half them top en is top lijkt nergens op de rij. You hold the everything this in the hand, in the andere groep eraan in hem toast shoot. That's all. No more.
Can I ask a question about the slow cooker?
Okay.
The entire week you use a slow cooker. Do you also have to cover the slow cooker with something?
Yes, because anything which looks like regular usage is considered a fire.
So what counts if I use a plastic bag, a slow cooker bag? Is that enough?
No, it's going to be covered fire. Slow cooker bag is inside the pot.
There's a slow cooker, there's a pot inside the slow cooker. The removable pot. I still have to cover that pot?
Not the pot, you have to cover the heat element.
So if normally
Yes.
We're talking about the crock pot.
crock pot.
Yeah.
Okay, crock pot is a different story because you have to cover something, but you have an issue with one also. It's two separate concepts in crackers. Well, we're getting into a complicated conversation, you're getting into one, it's a different concept. What I'm trying to cover today is in the Hatzadek of Shia. Let's make it very clear. Let's make it very simple and clear. We'll get to the carpet that morning. When we're talking about Shia, let's make it very clear. It's very important to understand. You can't leave food on a fire, Erev Shabbos, but if the food is cooked, you can leave it. This is before Shabbos. In Shabbos, beside the fact that you have a Shemu Yechate, I'm afraid you're going to play with the coils, you have a concept of Mechzek and Mavashel. It looks like you're cooking. Two different problems. Now, once you cover the fire, there's no Shemu Yechate anymore. You covered, right? But still, it looks like you're cooking. Mechzek and Mavashel. So in Shabbos, you're not allowed to put back any type of food, unless you're covering it.
Covering what?
You're covering it either way for the first week.
You don't need it because it's cooked already. So the reason why you're covering it is not because of Erev Shabbos, because once your food is cooked, Erev Shabbos, you can technically put it on a fire. The reason why we're all covering our fires is because in case in Shabbos you would like to take it down and put it back, you need to cover the fire. Oh?
If
So-
you cover the gas ridge,
Right.
yeah, with the man, so the kannst nemen dem top mit Zipper rumeigen in den Arubzama, in those
You can't stop it, no, you can't strict it.
installation.
You can't strict it.
And
Moving kan man göra. Aber det kan sig rubbla men inte riktigt. So Toma nimmt ihr alles auf und so, and you're good. But if you want to put it
Aber
back,
man hat das in der Hand mögen.
I mean, so I must be covered. Now, even though it's covered, now Friday night you want to take out your tune, you want to take a plate of tune Friday night, even though it's covered, you're still not allowed to put it on the floor. You're still not allowed to put it on the floor and put it back, even on a covered fire, because it's still not as a camouflage. It looks like you're cooking.
You just said if you cover it, it's not a problem.
As long as you're holding it in your hand. If you're putting it on the floor, and again, the Sfadim are a little bit more maker than this,
Well, what would that be?
because that's like separating the connection between.
But you're covering it, and that shows that you're not being Mavashim. So
Right.
who cares if you put it down or not?
So, you're right, and the Sfadim are more maker than the Taki, because the Sfadim feels that it's covered, that's it, right? But the other poskim, the Ramor, other following the opinion that it's only helping as long as it's like connected with what you did before. You're taking it down, or you're still holding it. Okay, so it's not doesn't look like you're cooking. But if you really put it on the floor, or you go to the fridge, you take a dry piece of kugel, you're gonna put it on the fire. This is a problem because it still looks like you're cooking.
Maar de spaardenberekening was men neemt op de lange zijn.
No, it's not in my mic. It's not allowed to put back.
Ja?
It's fully cooked.
Yeah, if it's fully cooked, it's not allowed to put it back. But that's
Spelen ze lijken op een tisch en lijkt.
Fill up and floor.
Nou, dan gaat mij dat bij zij is nog meer.
So zeggen ze mij. It's not clear cut, or it's better to be as far as can have. Sometimes it's not.
Ashkenazif.
So again, therefore we have to cover it. So what I'm trying to bring out over here is that such a fire has to be covered like a regular fire. Even though it's being covered, it's only help you if you, again, depending on Ashkenazim, but it helps you that you can take it down and put it back. Erev Shabbos, you don't even have to do it. Because once your food is cooked, that's it. Right? So again, that's my short conclusion. If you want just to leave your food Erev Shabbos on a fire, even when it's not covered, if it's cooked, you can leave it over there, no problem. If you just plan Friday night to take it, to take it to yourself, to serve the meal, you're good. This is shehiyah. Once it cooks, the food is cooked, you're good. If the food is not cooked, then you have to cover the fire, which is almost not relevant. Usually the Erev Shabbos the food is cooked.
Chom's not cooked. Fine.
It's always Shkia.
What?
Shkia has to be. Erev Shabbos.
Chom's not cooked. Is it cooked here?
I guess, but you're not.
No, it's cooked. I suppose it's cooked by then. Sure.
Yeah.
If not, you're right.
It's edible, meaning it's edible.
Yeah.
You can eat it. It's
Yes.
cooked.
Yes.
But it's a
Yeah,
but
if someone is doing differently, someone putting like a raw
Spaarden heeft, John.
well, we have better than the chow.
Oh, we hebben.
Ich finde einen neuen Verstand, wenn man nimmt da Rot und tut es ran.
Ja.
Aber der Tun in einer Kopf, wo sie können schnell mit dem Löffel in der Schüssel.
Galizianer.
Das ist wegen mit Tunisch mischen on top.
Galizianer, wie heißt das? Muss man ja. Kasche.
Oh, ich will so ein Fahrt, das ist mischen.
Kasche.
Also nimmt er raus mit aller Mischte. Tunisch mischen. Also kocht besser.
Du sie kocht, du sie keep warm, that's it.
But there's a fire.
Zum Rennen, man braucht rausnehmen von dort.
Ja.
Ja, sie muss bleibt.
De waap haalt de dozen dingen eruit, gibt de Fleisch.
Einer darf es auch noch zurücklegen.
Man kann sie wegleichen.
Dort
Und man
zit
houdt
het,
het
hè. Also moet die tun.
Als man houdt in de hand, dan moet man kunnen ze gewoon lijken in de hand.
You know what?
You can't put it on the counter or on a table.
This is a little bit of a machlokes. So what the best thing to do is you're putting it on the counter and you're holding it over with your hand. Like this. And you take it out.
Tja, als dat problem jetzt mit dem Waap.
Then what is the difference? The next house in the hand, and the like said, this is a fire.
Wie lange die Hals das, seht einer, die sich gekocht. Weil seht, als ich nehme von du, und dann legst du es zurück. Kocht er nicht. Aber dann kommst du mit der Top von Egels, und legst du es zurück. Die kocht. There's a connection. You see where is it coming from?
Alles da oben. Alles ist
Are you allowed to cook tradition soup?
What do you mean tradition?
You know, you put hot water in the little
Oh, that's a different story, whether it's considered to be cooked or not.
Yeah, so is that? Because it's cooked before, really.
It's cooked before.
No, it's not cooked.
You must have like
Because,
nice
because
Wasser.
the water is boiling what? It is, how much? 240, yeah? And that what you are putting in the ditch is 190, 186, 190, not more. It's not boiling water.
It's not boiled, right? So
So,
it's
then
not.
huh?
So
But from 113 and 115 is already considered to be cooked.
Wir können nicht allein mit Tschun daran
The problem is that the
Eiswasser.
spices are not cooked.
But it's the spices, you don't cook spices though. It's like salt and pepper, you don't cook spices.
the
But
top
there is
is
spices on it.
the
You're
same.
putting out hot water.
Is cooking spices considered cooking?
but not boiling water, hot water, it's hot water.
Yeah,
It's
boiling.
not
Boiling
boiled.
is hot.
Okay, but it's enough, like more than 113. If it's more than 113, you consider that it's cooking. It's a cooking temperature.
In Eiswasser tun wir schon allein da mit der Tschun, die verbrennt.
Thomas Heinz, ja.
Wenn man von einer kleinen Film bis sie da, so außen mal Eiswasser. In der Hand wissen. Ja, mögen wir es machen?
Ja.
Auf viele das, bis du, man nimmst da raus, bis du legst da ein Kiel zu hoch in das.
Das geht so hoch, tun wir nicht.
Okay.
Okay, so where are we up to now? I think we have to finish already. But now the difference is that's the reason why you're using such a hot plate like this. So if you use a hot plate like this, and the little difference is that it doesn't have this little piece to adjust the fire, right? Once you use such an hot plate like this, there's no way to adjust.
So they are
No,
like this, what is
nothing.
the difference?
No, you can.
What?
You can adjust.
No, you cannot
You
adjust.
can adjust. That's it. So if you cannot adjust, you consider that like it's covered. So such a hot plate you can use
Es ist schwer zu sagen, Eid.
You can take out the chunk, as long as you're holding it in the hand, or when it's hot, even not, you can put it back on the hot plate, even if you're not covering it. Because the fact itself that you can't adjust, this is already considered covered.
So you can.
If I use the black the whole week,
You can take from the table and put it here.
No. Very good, because even when it's covered, you can't. Very good. Huh?
if I use the black the whole
You can
week,
move it. That's it.
I
that's a
can't
good-
adjust
that's a
but
good-
is a Mexican version?
That's a good question. The Poskim debating on it has to do with you or whatever it's made from.
Everyone.
Yeah. Right.
Here you can move it, not to take it off.
Now,
Or
this-
in the hand. Can you put it back?
Wait,
you know what?
I say you can here only to move. Okay?
So
Or
you can take it out.
you can take it. You have hold in the hand. You are not putting nowhere and then put it back.
Yeah.
So you can do it.
If you're holding it in your hand, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one interesting aloof, I want to finish with that. Very interesting and very relevant stuff. Usually we know there's no way to cook stuff out of the fridge. Yeah, that's why they want more making on it, but in general, we at least, you can take just a dry piece of kigel from the fridge and put it on the fire. There's no way, right? One way there is, if you're using such a hot plate, and such a hot plate is already not so much Mexican mavash. Some poskim are saying even that such a hot plate, you can take out a piece of kugel from the fridge and put it on top of it. Why? Because it doesn't look like you cooked. It's something you can adjust, you can do anything. But we're not accepting this opinion. What we do is, if you're taking another bekel, or you're taking like another pot or something, you're putting it on top of this hot plate. And now you can take something out of your fridge, you can take a dry piece of kigel and put it on top of it. Because such a hot plate and a bekel on top of it, this is not Mexican wash. No one cooks like this.
Is for us make me nemen a Halle.
Challah is very good. One, the other way is a challah.
Shabbos, wisst du mal warum a Halle? Shabbos
Very
in
good.
Hebrew.
Because challah
No.
is something that you never cook. Men kocht es kein Mensch.
Aber es wird doch warm.
Fine, es wird nicht gekocht. Es ist schon gekocht. A challah, there's another exception. A challah is something that you're never cooking. A challah is something that you're baking. Therefore, if you're going to put it on a pot, no one will think that you're cooking now. Keiner die vragen dat die kocht zit, want a challah kocht men niet, a challah bakt men.
Ich nehme was zu Frischde, ich mache es zu los. Und noch der Menge ist keine Auflage.
Very good. No achal.
By kugel also you don't cook.
So that's a whole debate, I guess. Rather you can consider cooking something you don't.
Was?
It's potatoes.
Potatoes, yeah.
Potato cake usually it's hard to say that something you never cooking. You can definitely find cooking
Maar was het warm? Was het cooking? Was it?
Waarom mag hij cooking?
But I don't understand. What if you put the challah, right, on the blech or whatever it is? You're not afraid that there might be dough that's raw and it might.
You might do what?
You're not afraid that the dough that's not
There's
cooked.
a piece of dough that's raw.
Yeah. You're not afraid about
I
that.
don't know if you have to.
On Pesach you're afraid, no?
Right.
Gestern met mijn pizza en een Auflage zo het in dezelfde zaak.
I'm saying this is my coffee shop. I think
A
we have to
pizza
be
was
cautious that
there.
something wasn't cooked. You know.
Same thing,
Even cooked
right?
challah.
So how about a Danish? You could put a Danish on a blech or something.
If it's something that you're only baking, like a cake, like a Danish cake.
For Spartan's not a problem.
Eh?
As far as not a problem either.
Why? Because you can take straight out what I don't know.
Zwetter zu los, de Zucker in der Wein, ich zwetter zu los, de Salz. Ja. Weißt du, was heißt nicht cooking? Es ist Zwetter.
Challah so
Ach nein, was liegt nicht in Challah, liegt nicht kein Zucker, liegt nicht kein Salz.
Das ist alles so eine gebackene Sache.
Aber die zerlost es, nein, was ist das denn?
Nein, das ist schon lange nur eine Sache. Now, let's make clear. Now, here's where people make a lot of mistakes. You're jumping out of the concept of Shabbos, you're picking up such a hot plate in Walmart, and you want to do on it the same thing that you do on this hot plate. Right? So you're taking a bekele, you're putting on top of it. Okay, now I can take a piece of kigel, I can put whatever I want. It's a big mistake. When you're taking a bekele and you're putting it over here, the only thing you do, you just cover it. So you're getting it to the first level. It's now go over kutu. Only thing you can do over here is, to put certain things back. If you're holding it in your hand, again, it's found a little bit different, but, such a. Only in such a hot plate, if you're taking a bekele and you're putting it on top of this bekele, so it's something you never cook in such a way. So you can put on top of it any piece of food, whatever you want, any piece of food. So that's a mistake that people make sometimes. They're doing the same way of behaving, the same way you do like regular Shabbos by you at home. Let's say you have such a hot plate, and you're using the same method in a different hot plate, but the halucha is different. Because such a hot plate is considered a fire. That's what you have to remember. Such a hot plate is considered a fire. The same thing you see the gas range in front of you, there's a gas fire in front of you. Such a hot plate is considered a fire. So whatever you do with the gas range, that's what you should do with such a hot plate. A hot plate without a knob is a little bit different. Over there, it's much easier.
What if I'm covering everything? I'm covering the knob and the.
Fine, so it's covered. It's covered. Okay.
Okay, so what's the difference that and that?
Because this is not even something that you can even do something. Cloud.
Do you understand?
You can't even cook it at all?
Nothing.
You can do nothing.
If you cover that again, does it take it to the next level?
No. That's a good point. Really
Why?
no, you can cover it 10
Put a
times.
foil and a buckle on top.
This is good.
No, you don't need it.
Why not?
Because it's not. You double covering something. It's covered. That's what it is. It's not changing the status of the kli, the status of the Metzger Mamash. It's covered. One layer, another layer. Let's say in the time of Chazal, you put ash.
No, but no one cooks like that.
Huh?
No one cooks like that.
One layer or different layer?
Yeah, 2 layers, I'd say. No one cooks with 1 layer, 2 layers, whatever. No one cooks like that.
But if the first one,
I don't know if you can decide such a thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here, when the whole base is something you don't cook. So you're adding something extra on it. So it's totally something you don't cook. But you're covering, 1 cover, 2 covers, you're going to start arguing. So how many covers you cooking? 2 covers, 3 covers,
Right.
1 cover.
Would it make a difference? Would it make a difference if you just break off the knob?
Some say so, yeah. Some say so if you break off the knob, that's considered like
It's
you can do anything.
like that.
Some say it's getting this status because you can do
So
anything.
can I just pull it out?
There's before
Some say so.
Yeah.
Some say so, yeah. Some poskim were saying that it's considered like you can do anything.
could there be a Shabbos note on that?
What?
Press a button, the knob doesn't work. Is that?
There is some poskim feeling, if you disable the knob somehow, it's like you're covering it. But I don't know if it's really nice. In the water rooms where you don't really need to cover anything, so you're just doing it for extra, but it's not considered a big good. I hope I was clear because the halachas are complicated. People are very confused. I'm just hoping we didn't get more confused. We got it clear, a little bit clear on the halachas.
Shkoyach, Benzi, Benzi Shkoyach.